Hi, welcome back, and we are blocking in values part 1 with matte medium. Okay, so what we are going to do is create a value scale. Now in this first portrait, I kind of go above and beyond creating my value scale where I make my tints, my tones, and my shades. So tinting is when you add white to your pure pigment. So I'm using a Cadmium Orange. And tone means when you are adding gray to your pigment. So that's what the one I'm working on right now. And the last one is when you add black, and that is your shades. I think this is the only portrait where I actually mix all of my tints, tones, and shades. And the reason why is because, well, I guess it's because after a while you don't really need all of those to know what you're doing. I kind of did this on purpose so you get the idea of like how things would look. But most importantly is I kind of create one value scale and have a little mixture of some tints, tones, and shades. And then from there, I can either build up my opacity by adding like a few layers of my gloss glazing, or I just use the colors that I mixed, and then I can, if I'm not happy with it, you can always let it dry and then do a second layer. But anyhow, so how I begin is anytime you mix up your paints, don't actually think of yourself as taking that paint and applying it directly to your paper. And the reason why is if you apply it directly to your paper, you're going to lose all of those lines. And we don't want to lose them yet. We want to be able to see that information for like a few steps into the process. And what that means is every layer that we create, we're going to be adding glazing liquid or matte medium liquid to the paint directly, to the point where when you see it on the glass palette, you should be able to see the glass palette below. You don't want to see your paint or not be able to see the glass through your paint, like kind of how it looks mixed at the moment. Everything has to be a transparent layer. And even though you could go a little bit more opaque with this first layer, I still wouldn't recommend it. Because why not give yourself as much information for as long as possible, and then at the very end, if you're still seeing those lines, you could go a little bit more opaque and cover them up. But at least by having that information available, you can throughout the process just like keep building until finally you know, all right, I'm getting close to the end. This means that I can add my color glazes and my details, and all this probably doesn't make sense to you at the moment. Don't worry. By the time you get to portrait 6, this will all be like, okay, now she's doing this. Now she's blocking in her values. So what do I mean by blocking in values? Okay, so I begin by adding in my darkest values, which would be like my blacks added, so cadmium orange mixed with black, and then mixed with my matte medium. And if you add in all your darkest values first and then kind of progress towards your lightest values, then it's easier to see the gradient, which means that it'll be easier to see a shape in the face as opposed to just it being one flat surface at the moment. And we just have to give the illusion that this face is three-dimensional, even though we're painting it on a 2D surface. And how we do that is by adding in different values that create a gradient to another value. So what does that mean? Okay, your darkest values will push backwards and your lightest values will go forward or give the illusion of coming forward. Similar to your warm paints will appear to come forward, and your cool colored paints, your blues, purples, greens, will appear to move backwards. So we can use those tricks to help us create the illusion that something is three-dimensional. And with skin, even though you may have some maybe you have like some awesome like jagged features, whatever. No matter if you have like hard features or whatever, like your skin is still wrapping around your skeleton, which will make everything a little bit smooth and rounded. So keep that in mind that everything does have to appear a little bit round, even if you have like very distinct features or whatever. And the way that we do that is creating a gradient. And a gradient is when we progress from light to dark, where there's no harsh line dividing it. Kind of like you see a harsh line at the moment on her cheek. So if we're looking at the screen at the moment, her, the left side, so her right cheek, but her left, we're looking at it on the left, there's that harsh line. And there's not a good gradient that creates a transition from light to dark there. So later on, I'm gonna have to soften that out. Oh, looks like I heard myself. All right, so at the moment, I'm going very heavy with my light values. I think I did not add enough glaze, to be honest. Okay, real quickly, from portrait number 1, I'm giving you this tip. We have a matte medium on our palette at the moment, and that's what I'm using to create transparency. I no longer, at this point in time, with me talking over this, I no longer use matte medium. I switched to gloss medium completely. And I'll tell you why in the next video, but okay, clean up, spray your glass palette with some water, and use your razor to scrape off the paint before you begin mixing again. Okay, I will see you in the next video.